live stream. I'm joined today by Nick from Sleeper Sports Media and Hardcore Sports Network. What's up, Nick? Welcome to the channel. How
Thank,
are you, my friend?
thank you. I'm good. I'm ready to finally start talking some Steelers football. I'm big on wrestling right now, so with the season getting closer and closer, that itch is getting more and more. So I'm found this channel randomly and loved it. Reached out, so I'm happy that we're finally able to do this.
Amen. Yeah, guys, been talking to Nick back and forth through email and stuff a little bit. We did a little bit of a stream one day talking back and forth. So expect to see Nick here and there, man, and get him on here talking some Steelers football. You guys can go over and subscribe to all his stuff over there at Hardcore Sports Networks, Sleeper Sports Media, all that good stuff, and show him some love and support over there and help support all his causes. Wrestling, you guys do it all over there, don't you?
Yep. We the network. So mine is primarily football, WNBA, and WWE. The network then does football, basketball, baseball, soccer, if you want it, AEW, WWE, every NFL team we got it covered. Every baseball team, every NBA, everything. So
Oh
and I
yeah.
into like media, entertainment, movies, TV shows, just all that, anything you could think of. I'm probably going to be throwing something out.
Hey, do it all, baby. Do it all. I love it. I love it, man. Thank you. Well, it's good to have Nick on the channel here. We're going to talk, guys, a little bit about Pittsburgh Steelers football as we normally do. Pittsburgh Steelers NFL football as we continue. You know, the sagas that are going on with this team. You hear the Brandon Aiyuk deal thing, still talking, Nick, still hearing about that at nauseum. Now that there's framework in place for other teams, again, I'm one that just says, let's see what happens and let it go. But there's that going on. There's the depth chart being released. You had talked a little bit about earlier. Russell Wilson appears to be at the top of that. So we're going to dive into all that, guys. Let me check in the chat here. Miss Pittsburgh, good to see you. Russ, what's up? TD in the house. Brian Hanford, good to see you. Tom Ford, nice to see you guys. George T, what is up, guys? We will get to all these chat comments here as we move forward. So if you guys want to put back in there your questions and all that, as I've scrolled probably past them, and make sure you hit the like button and all that good stuff. Nick, let's talk a little bit about this, and just I know it's the topic of the day of the week, I guess, is the Brandon Aiyuk thing. What do you think about that? What's your personal feelings on this possible trade? What do you think about how this would be for the Pittsburgh Steelers in terms of financial obligations, what it means for the football team, and just in general? Good move, bad move? What do you think, man?
Yeah, I mean, it's been crazy from when it started to what it's gotten to now and everything, and now all of a sudden it's back and forth with the Steelers are in talks, they're not in talks. Then it goes to the Browns and Patriots, and then now it's the Browns, Patriots, and Niners, and then now the Steelers are back into it. So it's like it's crazy and insane. I mean, I wouldn't mind it. I mean, it would definitely be crazy to think of George Pickens and Brandon Ayuk. I saw a post that showed what he did against us last year, week one. And I mean, two
Mm,
touchdowns, 129 yards, and 8 catches. Like, it's insane.
big.
So it
Mm,
would be huge. Finances can be figured out by Omar. He can probably fleece together a deal, if not, if anything. And I mean, he somewhat has a say. He doesn't have a no trade clause, but he definitely has a say in where he goes. And he did
yep.
say multiple times probably that he would want to go to Pittsburgh and play for Mike Tomlin if he wasn't in San Francisco. So I mean, I'm all
Right.
for it if it works and if it makes sense. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean,
They can too, Nick. They can, you said they have control. They actually could do something else, the 49ers. So it could be two sides of the coin. What would you think about the 49ers having this? They could do like the 5th year option or whatever, and they could do like the franchise tag times two or something like that. The franchise tag, that's what it is. They could do the franchise tag 2 years in a row. Do you think that that would be cool even for the Niners? Or would it just create a horrible situation with an Aiyuk in the 49ers? Adding
yeah,
that to the dynamic.
I mean, he seems like he is not good. He seems like he would pull a Le'Veon and sit out and take his bet on himself, which I mean, Le'Veon, we can say what we want. He's, already said he wishes it could have gone differently. He found his way in boxing and he's doing great. I have a story for later, but I got to talk to him in a live in a space on Twitter before
Oh,
for some
nice.
boxing. But I mean, that was pretty cool. So
Oh
uh,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. It would definitely be interesting to see what he would do. But I got a guy in the office that's a Niners fan, so he was pissed today. He was quiet could be. Uh, and our manager is a Browns fan, so of course he was running his mouth.
Chirping.
That was the big thing today, this morning, that the Browns were right there,
Yeah.
Patriots and everything. And I'm like, well, then an hour or two goes by, and then all of a sudden the Steelers are back in talks. So it's like, we'll see, we'll see. I didn't
Yeah.
think Justin Fields, and then my supervisor told me that we traded Kenny Pickett,
Yeah.
and I believe that either. And then I saw that, and then literally he looked at me and goes, "What if we land Justin Fields?" I was like, "Well, that'd be insane." And then I left, and then sure enough, as I got home, that news was breaking, and I'm like, "This is crazy." So let's let Omar cook.
Yeah, that's it, man. Allow the front office to get the things in place that need to be in place, finances, whatever you got to do,
Yep.
figure it out. But when these people are out here reporting to, and I think this ruins a lot of people's credibility, and I hate to see people do it, but they're like, the deal's done, the framework's in place, this is that, this is the, let it go. You're putting too much into it, man. Allow things to happen. Quit creating the drama. I don't know. I just want this to be a drama-less season. I don't want no drama for the Steelers. I want this roster to be able to work. Omar to cook. Mike Tomlin to change a little bit and allow this shit to just go, man. I don't know. I'm not in for the drama this year about who's quarterbacking, who's doing this, who's doing that. I just want a regular season, man. I'm just tired of the craziness. It's been wild 3 years or so. Definitely. All right, guys, let me get to some of your chat questions here as Nick and I are talking a little bit about Pittsburgh Steelers, some of the Brandon Aiyuk stuff. Russ, you'll have to email me about that. I'll tell you how to do that in private. I don't want to do all that on here. I don't really know exactly how you put a new card on. But email me, Russ. We'll get that done. What's up, Danny George, Justin Meneke? What's up? George T. John Broadway. I just watched a short on Hines Ward and his tenacity hitting people. I'd like to have him back in Pittsburgh to teach our receiving corps straighten out those stupid attitudes of those young men. That was from Hines Ward. Yeah, yeah, dude. Or about Hines Ward. I think Nick, Coach Zani, Coach Z, the new wide receiver coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I definitely think he's bringing that attitude back. And you look at Arthur Smith and what he is going to require here from a so-called second wide receiver or a 1A type wide receiver. All his receivers need to be well versed in blocking because they are going to have to do that a lot. And John Broadway speaks about aggressive nature and how you got to be super physical in that Hines Ward style type of play. I think you're going to need to do that in the Arthur Smith offense. And I think Coach Z is bringing that attitude. Coach Azani is bringing that back into a room that Frisbin Jackson last year let get out of control, in my opinion. You saw it from Deontay Johnson. You saw it from George Pickens, and it was out of control, and that's okay. Hopefully it's fixed and getting fixed. But are you liking what you're seeing out of this wide receiver room, maybe, even though it doesn't have all the huge monster names in it? Maybe not yet, but it doesn't have the big names. But do you like what you're seeing so far, just with the small sample size of what they've been able to do? Do you think they're going to be a little bit more physical this year?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just from the first big headline out of training camp was George Pickens and the coach getting in that shoving match and everything. I mean, it just one of your shows, you said you love to see that kind of stuff coming out, and then the fight and everything. They wouldn't have done that. They wouldn't have immediately jumped to doing a full on fight for Kenny Pickett or Mason Rudolph or Mitch Trubisky. They wouldn't have done it. So just from that side of it, the whole team, everything physical, everything that you've been saying. I mean, to a T, nail on the head. You can't ask for much more. It's getting back to that the Steelers way, and
Mm,
you know uh, someone said it earlier, a different show the other day, Juju and that hit on Burfict for AB, and that the camaraderie that they had, and even Le'Veon Bell, Ben, and AB. I mean, the three of them were as close could be. So it's like if they can get that in each room and then bring it together, I mean, the sky's the limit. But yeah, I mean, everything about right now, Calvin Austin the third, I big fan of him. George Pickens, big fan of him. Just want to see him stay level headed
mm.
and no AB, the next AB, the next Deontay. none of that. I just want to see him ride this out with the Steelers and see what we can do. Same with Muth for the tight end room.
Yeah, did you see some of those trade offers that they were saying were so-called offers? They included guys like a Calvin Austin. You spoke of him. You're excited to see him. I am too. I think Calvin Austin has put in the necessary work, and I would hate to see him go. He's put his hard hat on every day, came to work, really busting his ass, trying to make this uh, wide receiver room a lot better, and his efforts have not gone unnoticed, at least to many. His efforts are definitely standing out, but you see him included in that, a Dan Moore included in that, those types of things. So yeah, hopefully we don't lose a guy like Calvin Austin. But when you were talking about the tenacity from these guys, and you were talking about the fire and things of that nature, you didn't see that last year, and that came from Landon Roberts' mouth straight out of there. He said, I could have did that last year to Kenny Pickett and they would have did nothing. Actually, they did do it, and it never, nobody ever had his back.
Yep.
And you see from the young guys, they're not putting up with that shit. They're coming in and they want to play and they want to be rough, man. And I admire it, just as you said too. I admire that, and I think that that is the key foundational piece to any football team. And I try to tell my youth kids that tonight. Turn on a different switch when you come onto this football field. Nasty, mean, crazy. When you go off of it, you go back to being that nice, regular young man. Yeah, that's how it needs to be, man. No doubt about it, man. All right, keep going with the chat. Danny George, what's up, Tom Ford? Here goes to Brandon Aiyuk tugging on those heartstrings. He's not tugging on my heartstrings. Nick, and I'm going to say this before we go too far with it. We're talking about it. Yes, it's a story, and it is what it is. It's reality right now. That's what the headline is. Here's my thing, Nick. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers can get away with what they have. I think Roman Wilson can emerge. I think he can get it done. I think where he was picked in the draft was a little bit late, in my opinion. I think he has the skill set to be pretty damn good. I think Calvin Austin, like I just spoke of, could be pretty damn good. I think George Pickens can be pretty damn good. And people are sleeping on Van Jefferson. The only time Van Jefferson was healthy in his young career, he put up double digit touchdowns and almost 1,000 yards. How can you discount that guy? I think he can do it, man, on a Super Bowl winning team. Do you like this wide receiver room without any type of addition? Would you be comfortable with this season marching in with this group?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're gonna have to look at George Pickens as the leader and the guy, the one, whatever you want to say, and I think he can dictate how it would go with
Yeah.
his ego, his if he stays level headed, we're fine. If he doesn't, do the things like Deontay did and giving up on plays and whatever else. But I mean, I don't think that George Pickens is that kind of guy. I think he's gonna. I I'm hoping that he turns into that leader and can mold everyone else to be at the standard that is the standard in Pittsburgh, and turn it back to the Heinz Ward days and the Santonio Holmes days
Mhm.
and whoever else of the great receivers that we've gotten that I'm forgetting that were up there, and just even Juju. I wish we could have worked something out with him to keep
Mm.
him. But I mean, things happen, and whatever. Like you've said countless times, Steelers don't care. We'll find someone else to get in here and work it out. And if it doesn't, on to the next one. So yeah,
Amen.
I'm comfortable without right now without any additions or moving around, whatever. If it happens, it happens. Um, it's just fun to think about that
Yeah,
for
no doubt. The compensation is what gets me, Nick. Honestly, that's what gets me the biggest. Because I look at it this way, Nick, and I'm not sure if everybody else looks at it this way or even has thought about it. You don't have your offensive line securely in place yet. You just don't. There, you don't know who's going to be where. Mike Tomlin hasn't got those positions set just yet, which needs to be done. So that foundation right there, that number one foundation, that's the first thing that needs to be in set, isn't in place yet. It can be very quickly, and hopefully it does. But you don't even have a quarterback signed beyond 2024.
yeah.
How can you go out and commit 36 million, 35, whatever the price tag may be? It's going to be monster dollars to sign this guy long term. how can you commit to a guy when you don't have a guy that can throw him the damn football committed past 2024? You know what I mean? I'm just puzzled by that, man. I'm
Yeah.
super puzzled by that.
Yeah.
Mm,
It's it is. I mean, you say it pretty much every day. Figure out the line, then the quarterback, and then the receivers. The receivers are content with what we got now. The tight ends get Muth as a veteran guy to show Connor Hayward. Love Connor Hayward. Big fan of
me
Connor.
too.
Um, just I mean, fit the pieces to what we have first, and then add and move and move them around, everything like that. So I
Yep.
mean, figure out the line, figure out quarterback, and then go and
Mm.
make a move for a Aiyuk or whoever else ends up
Yeah,
being
and
available.
they don't call them guys, Nick, like Broderick Jones. Those
Yep.
tackles, they don't call them foundational assets, foundational pieces for no reason. That
Yeah.
there's a reason people refer to them as the foundational pieces because without them, this thing doesn't go. And I know people want to see the flash, the big news. I get that. But football at its roots, football at its foundation has to be built inside of the trenches. It has to be taken care of in the with the foundational pieces. To be frank, I mean, I don't know how else to put it. And if those aren't in place, this it just does not move, man.
Yeah.
Brian says Aiyuk will be a Steeler. Yeah, you never know. Justin Menike, I hope the Steelers trade for Aiyuk. Danny George, what's up, John Broadway? Year by year, how many times has a team wanted to add Tyreek Hill version of their receiving court? But really, what are they going to get? Yeah, who knows, man? The Steelers have a history, Nick, of picking pretty decent wide receivers, I think so. AK Davis, how do you think George Pickens would react to a Brandon Aiyuk coming in? He may create a locker room issue since he would not be the number one receiver anymore. That's a good question by AK Davis there, Nick. What would you think how that dynamic would work? Does that knock George Pickens down a rung? Does he become the 1B or number two in your eyes? And is Brandon Aiyuk really, that much better than George Pickens?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that would be the if they do land him, I think that would be the biggest, like, okay, this is the next number two question. And like, how is this going to work out and everything like that. But I mean, eventually you got to think that with how good both guys are, they're just going to be. You would hope that they would be a better relationship, build a better relationship than what Deontay and George had. Deontay went on, how long without scoring a touchdown? Was George happy that when he finally scored? Nah. Was
Yeah.
Deontay happy when George scored? Nah. So it's just like you would want to build that, and then make it like how AB and Juju were. If AB's getting double covered, boom, you got Juju. Two number ones. Your number one gets covered. You have another number one to be wide open and make a play. Like I that's how I would want it to be, want it to fold out. But you never know with who this ego and that ego and this guy and that guy. So you just never know.
Yeah, and I'm a firm believer in right at the beginning of that locker room, the only thing that should be printed out and shown anywhere, none of this, here we go, Steelers, no menace steel signs. It should be check your freaking ego at this door, man. That should be
Yep.
the number one rule in the NFL, man. You got a lot of guys with a lot of money in professional sports, and you're putting them all in a room, all in a building, and you're asking them to spend a lot of time together. And the egos can be quite inflated, man. No doubt about it. All right, guys, we're going to continue to get through this chat as much as humanly possible. When I have a guest on, it's a little bit harder to read all the chat messages. So if you are a Mic Drop Mafia member, your questions will be the priority ones that I'll read through there. Again, that's 99 cents a month to make sure you guys get your Mafia membership. Also, hit that like button. We're doing really good so far with the likes. We're already up over, 20. So make sure you guys continue to do that. Share the show. And again, I'm Jason. This is Mike Drop Sports. This is our daily live stream. I'm being joined by Nick from Sleeper Sports Media and also Hardcore Sports Network, where you can find any sport that you're looking for. So go over and check them out and give them a subscribe and show them some love, guys. Let's continue to get through there. Yeah, Russ, he does. No trade clause. Brian Hanford. I see your point, John. How many extra games would Aiyuk get us? Maybe one, but playoffs, that's where you need. Yeah, that's what you're asking yourself, Nick. Well, when you make these big monster moves, these big monumental moves, and this is just my opinion here, when you make these moves, I think that should be the first question that you ask yourself. How many games is this guy going to, contribute and help us win? You know what I mean? Uh, is he going to make that big of a difference? That has to be what you're committing to. Is this guy going to get you a couple wins? I don't know. People just make these moves up in their head and are just really comfortable with it and act like these things can just be done and it doesn't matter and there's no outside variable. If the team wants them, they get them. I don't know. Maybe I'm confused, Nick. I don't know. I'm just kind of having a hard time wrapping my head around how easily people just say like make these 40 million, $30 million a year moves. You know what I mean? It just is
Yeah, yeah.
puzzling to me.
I see it all the time with wrestling Twitter and dream booking and fantasy booking and they should do this and then do that and it's like it's just I mean I've been like SummerSlam just was this weekend and everything was revolving around everything was building to this point and then some feuds were going on for 7 months and it's like I hope they do this and then they do that and then it ended up being something completely different than what I thought it was going to be or whatever and it's just like just sit back and let let those guys let Omar cook,
Yeah.
and worry about that and figure it out. But like to that point, if we had a guy, George as a one, and then an Aiyuk as a 1B, 1A, whatever you want to say it, versus Deontay last year when he's catching a touchdown, we're down by 14 and he's celebrating. If we had an Aiyuk, would we have been down 14? And how many passes that Deontay drops or catches it and then goes backwards and then just doesn't that frustrated me with to the moon with Deontay was he would catch it
Mhm.
and go backwards. I mean, it just I rates my soul. I mean, it just so I when he was gone, I was happy. So I mean, if you have two guys that are at that level and make the plays. I mean, he had two touchdowns and 129 yards and eight catches against us. So you got if he's going to do that for us, I mean that's a no-brainer. You want that, and then add on what George is going to do game in and game out. So it just
Amen.
let those guys cook. And
I agree, man. You sent me something earlier on Twitter about the depth chart being out, and I wanted to go over that because it popped up into my head while you were talking, and you were talking about the receivers and all this stuff. And I thought, oh, like we need to go over that because you were talking about that. And hey, Russell Wilson was announced as the number one on the depth chart. I know you can take these a little bit with a grain of salt, but there's some concerning things on this depth chart that I see, Nick, and one that I have a major, major issue with, and that is the left tackle position. It is released that Dan Moore Jr. is at the number one spot right now on the depth
yeah.
chart at left tackle, and Troy Fautanu is his backup at left tackle. In that particular instance, that position there, what's your thoughts there when you originally see that?
Well, I saw that one after I saw that post that I did set you from Brooke Pryor
Mm,
about Fonatana was finally getting in, or Broderick Jones was at left tackle, Fonatana was at right, and then and then the depth chart comes out, and it's just like you've said so many times, we've seen what Dan Moore can do,
mhm,
and it's not much of anything. So like let's switch it up. I mean, I know the standard is the standard, but come on,
mm,
change it up. Like let's change the recipe, and figure it out because I mean, I just the consistency of what the Steelers do is so inconsistent, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it, and I want to see change. And the line from last year and the 2 years before that, and just I mean, was hard to watch, and just thinking about what we used to have and Pouncey and DeCastro and everyone
mhm,
else and Villanueva, just everyone else, and that was never an issue. And now that it's an issue, it's just like I this is more of an issue in our the rebuild phase than
yeah.
figuring out the quarterback was painful. The quarterback thing was painful, but I mean the line has been atrocious. So yeah, Dan Moore, he's I'm tired of it. I want to see him go.
Yeah, no doubt. Me too, man. I've just had enough. I've talked about it so much, it just makes my heart break. Oh, no, George, that's not buckets never sleep. It's buckets never stop, baby. Because when I'm on the court, I make that shit rain, dude. Yeah. You know, Post Malone, he put out that song, White Iverson. It was about
Yeah,
me, bro. It was about me.
got clip that one. Clip that one.
Yeah.
Send that to
Clip
Posty.
that one. George T. What? Okay, you did that one. Stop. Oh, you did put. You corrected it after that. Okay, John Broadway. Yes, Brian Amber. Roberta Campbell. What's up? I don't know if I would say they wouldn't for Mason because when he finally got in the team, played for him. No, what they were saying, Roberta, they didn't. Nobody did last year. Landon tested it. You know. He tested the waters, man, and it didn't happen, sadly. And that's for anybody. They pushed their buttons, and nobody stuck up for him. So it is what it is. Different team, different dynamic. Right tackle, though, Nick, is Broderick Jones, Dylan Cook, and Davery Hamilton. I just think Broderick Jones was drafted to be the foundational piece of this offensive line as the left tackle. And I think that that's where he needs to be. But we'll continue to watch that. Another one that concerns me a little bit is Nate Herbig and Zach Frazier. Nate Herbig being the number one, Zach Frazier listed as the number two, Ryan McCullum as the number three snapper for this ball club. One thing that concerns me, and Mike Tomlin can't get a free pass for this because this is complete bullshit. And I know we shouldn't live in the past. I know we shouldn't talk about it. But what in the world is Nate Herbig listed as number one on the depth chart here in 2024 when you let Mason Cole have a historically bad year and you never made a change? Why all of a sudden can Nate Herbig snap the ball as opposed to last year he couldn't? Does that make any sense to you at all?
Not at all. Not at all. There's not much about the depth chart right now with the line where the line is concerned that makes sense. I mean, besides the pieces that were what last
Yeah.
or Isaac Salomalu,
Yeah.
um, and James Daniels. But I mean, yeah, no, that doesn't make sense at all. None.
Yeah.
Nope.
Now,
Yep. Nope. No free pass on that one. Do not pass go. Do not collect 200. Figure it out
no.
and roll for doubles, buddy, because it just doesn't make any sense.
I just don't know what he's thinking, and people just want to be like overlook it. And I'm like, bro, he was on the roster last year. Why
Yeah.
didn't you make some type of move? Why didn't you make some type of change? And then I get knocked, and people say that I'm crazy for saying it. But Mike Tomlin has some deficiencies. He needs to fix them. His roster management sucks. I don't know what else to say. You know, sometimes he's too loyal, but it is what it is. What's up, Michael Mosley, John Broadway? Go Debo or go home. Roberta Campbell Hayward didn't get picked till third round. And look what the Steelers got from Ward. Yeah, I don't think it matters sometimes where you're picked. I think it matters who's scouting you. Some guys don't get the spotlight, Nick, and you don't see them in college like that. And I think the Steelers have had a historically decent scouting department as far as wide receivers, don't you? I feel like they've done pretty well in that category over the years.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Hines Ward, Santonio Holmes. I mean,
Manuel Sanders.
Manuel Sanders. There's a couple other ones that I'm thinking of and like that I just
Mhm.
can't think of because we already named those three, three or four. Juju, still one of my favorites that has come through here. And I mean, Antonio Brown for everything that he says and does on Twitter. I laugh at it now and I'm like, I'm so glad he's out of Pittsburgh for this reason. But then like I just see his tweets and even at some point it reaches a point where I'm like, okay, yeah, this is just I'm so happy he's truly gone. And then I'm like, what? But then thinking about what he actually did in Pittsburgh and Tampa, wherever else,
Mm.
just I mean everything. I mean, just he's one of those guys that is at that level of receiver that we found and molded into what he ended up being, which is a Super Bowl champion. So
Amen, baby. Collect those rings, no doubt. Here's another thing about the depth chart. Connor Hayward listed over Jack Coletto at the fullback position. Also, Connor is on the depth chart as a tight end, but I thought that that was a place this offseason that they could stash Connor on the depth chart, still add back to that tight end room, maybe add an extra guy considering the kickoff rules, Nick. The way that the special teams are going to have to be built this offseason. I thought that maybe you could stash an extra guy that way by classifying Connor Hayward as that fullback. And Man, I don't know about Jack Coletto. We'll see what happens there, but he seems to be a good ball player, a good fullback. But again, I like Connor Hayward. You said you do also. I think he's going to create some serious mismatches here in 2024. I'm excited about seeing him. Do you think the Steelers are going to utilize Connor Hayward into their game plan, or do you think there's only one football and maybe not enough targets to go around, and he could be probably the odd man out of that situation?
I mean, I hope they would use him. I mean, the depth. I mean, that it's early, early depth chart, whatever. But I mean, he's listed there for a reason, so I would hope so. I mean, he did got in that one play whenever the last time we played Atlanta, and he
Yeah.
got in late and pretty much won the game. So,
Mhm.
I mean, I would throw that out there. He played fullback at Michigan State, I think. So, I
Yeah.
mean, I would hope use him as either one. So, that's what I would want. I'm a fan. You're a fan of him, so definitely want to see him get some playing time and be one of those extra pieces to this puzzle of the Steelers offense.
Absolutely, man. I think he could be very versatile. When you look at the mismatches that he could create, dude, you get
Yeah,
him out there on a linebacker, especially a more run stuffing type linebacker, know your opponent, know who you're matching him up with. He could really do some damage, I think, in those situations and be a true safety valve, a real outlet for whoever is playing quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Definitely, I really I like that. So let's continue to move on here. Running back was Najee, Jalen, Cordell Patterson, LaMichael Perrine, Jonathan Ward, and Dewan Edwards. We know they'll probably keep three of those. Those names will probably be Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, and Cordell Patterson. So no surprise really there. The wide receiver room has listed Calvin Austin as the number two, George Pickens as the number one there. And then those spots also in the third wide receiver spot was Van Jefferson, Des Fitzpatrick, because they list a one, a two, and a slot, basically, is what they listed as on this depth chart. So you see the guys leading up that first on the depth chart is Van Jefferson, Calvin Austin, and George Pickens. And I don't think that that's a horrible lineup. And I don't think Quez Watkins, Roman Wilson, and Des Fitzpatrick are horrible in the second. You got Scotty Miller. Jacob Copeland's gone, I believe. I thought they got rid of him, but it says he's on this depth chart, so I don't know how that is. But I don't know. I think they got options, Nick. I'm not scared about it, man. I'm really not, dude.
yeah. Yeah, it's all gonna the puzzle is gonna come together at some point. I know you were talking about doing you know, your predictions of what the 53 will look like and everything. I'm
Mm,
excited to see that and gotta get through the preseason before you can get to the first round of cuts and second round of cut and then final round. So it's gonna be a lot of fun to see what pieces work where and hopefully see specifically Dan Moore Jr. his piece not fit where they have him.
dude.
Um, but I mean, it everything's going to come together, and the group that is there on paper. I'm not like you said. I'm not scared of what we have right now on paper, and I'm more excited than in the last 2 years for the offensive side
Yeah,
than
definitely.
last year or the year before that. And I was a Kenny guy from day one. So
Me too, dude. I was pumped for Kenny, and he just showed me no guts, bro.
yeah,
That's just all it boiled down to. I get he had some fourth quarter, late things, but or late drives and won some games here.
yeah,
But the defense won those games. Let's be real honest with them. You can't hang in the NFL and be a competitor and be a contender, putting up less than 20 points a game. It just doesn't. The math don't work, bro. You
yeah.
know.
He had it a little bit with his first start in Buffalo, where he like took a shot and then he was just like, all right, yeah, like let's go. He had it just a little bit, and then
Mhm.
it was gone. Now I still kind of defend him with like what the situation was with the OC and then Canada getting fired and then switching and then interim this and interim that and the quarterback coach is calling the plays and everything like that. So I still think he didn't get a fair shot, but I mean it nothing was showing that it could actually change. Same with Mason Rudolph. I would have had Mason Rudolph over Trubisky any day of the week,
Mhm.
twice on Saturday, twice on Sunday, and then gone from either Kenny or Mason. But then once Kenny got hurt and Mason was in, and he saved the day on Christmas Eve or whatever it was,
Hmm.
just like, yeah, no, I didn't learn anything from what. Like, all right, yeah, you can go to Philly,
Yeah.
go to Philly. That's
What
fine.
a smart ass answer, Nick. I didn't learn anything. You know, like don't be an ass, man. All right, let's get back to some of the chat. Tom Ford, why does every player leave the Steelers and play for another team end up fading away? That does seem to be true most of the time. AJ Lindsay, hit that like button, y'all. Thank you. Miss Pittsburgh, wave those terrible towels and hit that like button. I appreciate it. Also, guys, quick reminder: this is Mike Drop Sports. I'm Jason. I'm joined by Nick from Sleeper Sports Media, also from Hardcore Sports Network. So go over and support him in all his adventures as we talk some Pittsburgh Steelers. And maybe I'll dive over there and do some stuff with Nick, and we'll do some fun stuff here as the season continues to progress. Guys, Porter, what do you think about the Rams' offensive line getting injured and Puka foot injury in camp? Dude, I got to say this. You lose Puka Nakua. I don't know enough about the Rams here, but Puka Nakua was a baller last year, Nick. He was a baller, bro.
Without a doubt. Yeah, I saw that pop up the other day, and I posted that to Facebook and everything, and I was getting some funny comments on it, like saying the exact same thing. Like, well, now what?
He's
But
a baller, dude. And guys, think of who pushed Van Jefferson, who's on the Steelers roster right now. Who pushed him out of the Rams organization? Puka Nakua, Tutu Atwood,
yep,
all those Cooper Cup. Those guys pushed a guy like Van Jefferson out, a guy that was rather productive. And when you get a collection of talent like that, you can't afford them all. You can't keep them all in one building. And hey, maybe we'll get the right end of that or the right end of that deal. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Maybe.
yeah. I mean, with a quarterback that can actually throw the ball, and
Mm.
I mean, just levels above what Kenny Pickett was giving us. I mean, again, the OC kind of what I say that with an asterisk, because Matt Canada would, you could put anyone out there and have Matt Canada in your ear, and it's going to look like, just sloppy as ever. So I'm excited for the first official year post Matt Canada, and to see what the ceiling is on this offense.
Yeah, and I think that's very interesting to see, man. That first year without Matt, and just how big of a difference that's going to be, and how big of a hindrance that Matt Cannon was to this football team. I'm really anxious to see that because sadly, we're not going to get the perfect look into that situation. Why? Because the roster is going to be vastly different offensively. So we'll never really get a true picture of how that's going to look. But hey, it is what it is. I think it'll definitely be better. All right, guys, wave that terrible towel for Mitch Pittsburgh. JT, we are here for the Steelers. Not the day. Oh, no, we can talk it all, brother. We can talk it all. Sixburg, Quest for Seven. I'd like that, no doubt. John Broadway. How many Indians are smoking? Oh, come on, bro. If anyone comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, you should come to play Steeler football, not to be some wannabe coward. Man, you guys are mid-season form tonight, bro. We're getting fired up, man. Getting laid it out. You don't hear usually these comments until the mid-season. Yeah, people are
Mid-
getting fired up, Nick.
yeah, the other day we were playing. They play music. I work in a call center, so they play music for us, like while we're calling and everything. And Renegade came on. And I just turned around and made eye contact with my manager, who's a Browns fan. I made contact with him, and then I went back and I dialed. I set a couple different appointments and everything, and I looked at him. I was like, "Well, if that doesn't get me fired up for football and dialed in for this, I don't know what will." And he goes, "Okay, all right." And so as soon as the season starts, I'm going to be wearing my Muth jersey every every Friday for game days, Thursdays when they play Thursdays, Monday, that whole thing. And I'm
Hell
taking
yeah.
out tomorrow and having it sitting right up front and pretty. And yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
let them know, Steelers Nation, we are here.
I think I'm going to televise or video the burning of the Kenny Pickett signed jersey here on the channel. I think I might torch that bitch.
I was gonna,
uh,
I
go
got
ahead.
day one, bought a jersey immediately. And I
Me
usually
too.
complain about, like, the jerseys I get have been guys that stick around. Hines Ward, um, I have a Heath Miller jersey, a Troy Polamalu jersey, and a Pat Fryermuth jersey, and
Yeah.
then the Kenny Pickett jersey. So that was my miss. My sister, she has a Jesse James jersey. She fell in love with Jesse James, Penn State guy,
Yeah.
gone in 3-4 years. She doesn't wear it,
Yep.
collecting dust. My cousin has a Juju jersey, collecting dust, and
Yep.
I was like, you can hang them up and just hang up the front. So the front is showing because 19 for the Steelers is going to keep going. So, and
Yeah.
luckily for my cousin, she's a big Calvin Austin fan, which is why I'm a big fan. I'm sure I mess with her saying like he's short, whatever, but I mean he is so like his game against the Rams. I was like, all right, I'm good. I'm sold. Use those.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, no doubt. They'll sell them at TJ Maxx, man. They're still selling Mike Wallace jerseys, Killer B era. I swear to God, I just seen him not long ago. It was like a month ago. I seen him, Mike Wallace, Killer B era. And I'm like, that's been, we're working on double digit years here soon, like shit.
Who was
Jay, what's
who was
that?
number 11? Was it Marcus?
Marcus Wheaton.
Yeah, another, and then there was another one. He was in the UFL this year. Um,
McFarland.
no, he or was Marcus Wheaton the one who couldn't stay away from the weed?
No, Bryant. What you
Martavis
call it? Yes.
Martavis Bryant. That those were two of the other guys that I was thinking of receiver wise that were could have been so just we just don't know because of whatever reason. But
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So I mean, just yeah, it's so funny that you say about the jerseys because I remember one of the games that I was at a couple years ago was they had Antonio Brown jerseys and Le'Veon Bell jerseys for like 75% off in the Steelers store as I was leaving Acrisure, Heinz Field, whatever you want to. I think it was
Yeah,
still
they'll try to make money off of anything, Nick.
yeah, yeah. So
Oh, that's so funny, dude, to see it. When somebody doesn't win the championship, they send all the shit overseas, and you'll
exactly.
see it eventually
Yeah,
somewhere in the world. You'll see, San Francisco 49ers Super Bowl champions of 2023. And you're like, how in the hell? That's why
yeah,
people think they live in the Matrix, man. They live in a glitch.
yeah,
The Mandela effect.
yeah.
That's
I've
what the
been
Mandela effect probably is.
I've gotten a couple different. It's funny you bring that up, like the championship shirts. I love those memes are hilarious. But I've gotten different. Back in like 2020 when I was like going through warehouse after warehouse and trying to find the right one that actually had work. I got a call to go to the New Era warehouse that's in my area and make the hats for I think it was the NBA Finals at the time, but it was like once they got to game 4 they were like, you either work, this day, the next day, and the third day. It just depends on however many games it goes, but you'll make certain amount for both teams, and then whoever clinches, then you'll just make a shit ton for them. And I was like, that is crazy that that's
That's
actually what
crazy.
they do because they just don't know who's going to win.
Yeah.
They have to have a set amount for each team, and then whoever ends up winning, then they just make more of those. So then they do just what do you do with
Mhm.
the ones that you made for the losing team? Like those
They
memes have
yeah.
always been hilarious.
Yeah, they have cases, boxes of those bad boys in everybody's locker room. Super Bowl's the worst one because that's a 50-50 chance. You got to be prepared for either one. So,
Yeah.
and AFC championship
Yep.
games,
Yep.
divisional rounds, they all get t shirts for every damn thing.
Yep.
Tom Ford, Jason, how about Good Morning Football and their top 10 NFL players where Myles Garrett was number 5 and TJ Watt was number 8? I can't do. Oh, I can't do it, Nick. I can't do it, man. Myles Garrett ain't that guy over TJ Watt. Myles Garrett isn't a bad ball player, but statistically, he don't knock my socks off, bro. I just don't understand the fascination with him, man.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, both the cup the I just you were talking about pro football focus the other day, and in my head I'm thinking they make up stats just for Miles Garrett to be
Yes.
better than T.J. Watt. Like it's insane. You talk to any Browns fan, TJ leads the league in sacks for however many years, weeks, whatever. Yeah, well, Miles Garrett has a higher percentage of contested tackles and double teams against him. TJ gets triple teamed every other play, and
Yeah.
every single play and it's never called. So what are we really talking about here? You can take your made up stats for Miles Garrett and go back to Cleveland, mistake on the lake, and chill out over there. I mean,
Yeah, no doubt. That's
it
just
drives me
crazy.
crazy. Absolutely, absolutely.
Me too, dude. It drives me nuts, man. All right, guys, make sure you're hitting the shit out of that like button for us here on Steel City Live. I'm Jason. I'm joined by Nick from Sleeper Sports Media, Hardcore Sports Network. We're talking Steelers football. Justin Fields, Nick, called the Pittsburgh Steelers training camp the hardest he's ever been through in his short NFL career. This going into his fourth year. What do you take from that? Or if you take anything from it? Being with Chicago, not having the success that maybe was once thought that he should have had there and carried that franchise. But he sits here and says, this has been the hardest camp that I have been through to date. Do you take anything away from that?
Yeah, I mean that's just the Steelers. That's just Steelers football. I think. I mean, it just because I think it is really cool that they do go to Latrobe and they have that, like you've talked about it, and
Mhm.
that sense of true football camp. I did one football camp when I was in high school, and we went to a local, college it's like an hour away from here, so it just gives you a different environment, and it was a lot of fun just from the dorm life and just every aspect of it. I mean, guys were taking their speakers and playing music in the halls whenever we did have downtime, or taking, NFL guys, they take their Xboxes or whatever else, and I mean,
Yeah.
Pat he has told stories about his time at Colts training camp. So I mean, hardest, on the field is, I mean, it just shows that, it everything is going to be turned up whenever you go to somewhere like Pittsburgh, and
Yeah.
hope that, like you've said multiple times, that in Pittsburgh he can find his way and fine tune everything that he does lack in a sense.
Yeah, I just think I want people to be fair to Justin, honestly, man. And I know he's a professional athlete. Fair. Just it is what it is. People, I just want to see this guy get an actual real chance. Let him be, taught something. Let him
Yeah.
progress a little bit, man. People just want to rush him out there, and I don't understand that. And I just don't think people sometimes understand what the process is in order to get better.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. All right,
Yeah.
let's get back to the chat here. A little bit too evil, too open. I can't read your comment. I don't even know why I read that shit, bro. You do it every time, George T. The bucket stop here, not on my watch. Armand Petro. Thus, Pittsburgh decisions not A plus in the trenches. It's stupid. No, they need to be good in the trenches, man. Tomlin sucks from Tom Ford. Wallace, Plexico. Yeah, all those guys. Fun fact: Russell Wilson was sacked 100 times in 22 games with the Broncos. Is that a Russell Wilson problem? Is that a whole thing of Russell Wilson's fault there, Nick? Being sacked 100 times in 22 games. Or does the offensive line take a little bit of credibility for that? Do they stand up and say, my bad, man?
Yeah. I mean, from I I'm not a Denver fan by any means. My best friend, his dad is a Broncos fan, so anytime the Broncos are mentioned, it's like I just hear this whenever they win in any shape or form. If they squeak it out, if they blow a team out, and then I don't hear anything whenever they lose and whenever they're
Yeah.
they're they're trashed. So it's like as soon as Russell Wilson news broke, I get a text, "Hey, have fun with that." I'm like, like I probably said that exact stat to him. Like your line got him killed 100 times.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know our lines know better, but I mean, you know,
Hmm.
little this the line is more of a rebuild focus than what the quarterback was at that point. So yeah, I mean, I got nothing nice to say about Denver. So yeah, I would say it's probably their offensive line that was the issue.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. People just know any bad statistic that they can spin their narrative off of,
Yeah.
not wanting to be, overhyped about a guy. It is what it is. I always caution people on this, Nick. Look at the whole picture, man. Look at every statistic. Don't just look at one thing that suits your narrative and spit that shit out and act like that's the only argument that matters on the topic. I get that a lot, and I got to remember, I got to take rule number one of being on social media and doing things like this podcast. Don't block all those out. Don't even pay attention to those comments because it just gets you fired up. John Broadway, the Steelers get big shaver receivers. Why can't we get a solid good day and a good and day in and day out steady team players? Yeah, I like team guys, man. That's what I'm built for. That's what I want. Tom Ford. If the Steelers get Aiyuk, he could help Pickens because teams wouldn't want to double, sometimes triple team Aiyuk. If you look at it though, last year too, Nick, a lot of teams doubled the shit out of George Pickens last year.
Yep.
It ain't going to be no different than this year. It's going to be in the same situation. You can't double everybody. So somebody's going to be open somewhere. And that's where your quarterback play comes into, it comes in big, man. And he's got to make the right decisions. And that's where I get Justin Fields is not the premier, most efficient processor of the game of defenses. And that's what he needs to really focus on and learn. So that's where Russell Wilson will come in big, being able to find that open guy. And you look at Arthur Smith's system, and you're going to say to yourself, there's going to be mismatches somewhere with bigger bodies, 12 personnel, 13 personnel, double tight end sets, big bodies being out there. There's going to be mismatches, and you just got to find them, dissect, game plan. And I think, again, like you said earlier, we'll be a little bit better with that. Don't you think? Arthur Smith as opposed to Matt Canada. I think there will be an actual game plan.
Yeah, I mean, and we would be fine with anyone besides Matt Canada. We would be fine
Yes.
with the offensive coordinator that I have on my dynasty for college football right now than Matt Canada. So yeah, I mean, like you said, George Pickens was double teamed, and then the option that we had was Deontay, and you can throw the ball to him, but 8 times out of 10, he's either going to catch it and go backwards or drop it, or off the chance that he does score, which the streak that he had shows that that comes around very so often. He's going to score when we're down by 14 and then celebrate like you said, like he won the Super Bowl. So it's like if you have a guy like Aiyuk that is going to be the one that's open and he's going to make that play 9 out of 10 times where he's not going to drop it, you can get him to score twice in a game, go for 100 plus yards, and not go backwards, then yeah, why wouldn't you want that and a George Pickens, and then vice versa? If he's double covered, you got George who's going to go out there and make an insane catch that makes Odell say that catch was better than mine. So
Yeah. I agree, man. There's only one football though, too, and people got to realize that. How many people can you get the football to on each play? One. There's only so many times. There are only so many people you can get the ball to during the course of a game. I don't know. It just puzzles me, man. What do you want the Steelers to be? Do you want them to be a run team? A lot of fans are like, "Oh, we're going to be a run first team," but yet are clamoring over going and signing a $30 million wide receiver. What happened to your talking about the Steelers are a hard nosed running football team? Make up your mind. What the hell you want this team to be,
yeah,
man? I
yeah,
don't know. I don't get it, dude. But hey, man, we're reaching toward the hour mark. That's about all I usually go. So we're gonna
yeah.
start wrapping it up, guys, as we get through the show here. Sorry, Nick, that if I kept you too long, man. Um,
Hours
but
usually what I
what's
shoot.
that?
An hour is usually what I shoot for. Um, Hit or miss whenever if I'm doing something like this to cover wrestling or football or whatever else. An hour is perfect, and then for my streams when I'm streaming and doing a watch along for wrestling, I mean Saturday night I just did SummerSlam. It was 5 hours. So
Whoa!
yeah, yeah, but it was worth it. It was worth it. Well worth
Did
it.
you not get up at all? Did you sit the whole time for that stream, or did you get
Yeah,
up and
yeah,
take
yeah.
breaks?
I got home. Well, so I worked on Saturday,
Yeah.
1, and then I saw Deadpool, or I worked 9 to 2. Saw Deadpool at 2:15. I got home at like 6 because they played 30 minutes of commercials. So I got home at 6. I ate and then was down here at 6:50. Turned everything on, got it all set up. It started at 7. I didn't walk upstairs until 5 hours later. Got food and went to bed.
Wow, bro.
Yeah,
You're a freaking soldier, bro.
yeah, yeah,
Soldier. Damn, bro. Well, that's crazy, man. Again, guys, this is Nick. He's from Sleeper Sports Media,
yeah.
Hardcore Sports Network. They do a lot of stuff, guys. So you guys got to make sure you go over and again, check them out, show them some love. And again, maybe we'll go over, do some things with Nick and have some fun this season doing Steelers content as things as these storylines continue to build, man. So again, make sure you check out all of Nick's stuff. Do you have any social media stuff with any different names or anything, Nick? Like Twitters or anything that you want to shout out there for people to maybe go follow, Facebooks?
Yeah. So I'm pretty active on the basics, Facebook, Twitter. Facebook, if you look up just Nick Wetosh, my last name, or just look up Sleeper Sports Media, it'll take it. There's a separate page for Sleeper Sports Media. There's a Facebook group for that. Nearing 200 members in that, but I'm not
Nice.
super active in that one, but I mean it's still fun to just anyone can go in there and post anything, NFL, different teams, MLB, stuff like that, anything really. And then my personal Facebook, which is where I post majority of the stuff that I find, news wise. And then I'm part of another group on there. It's called Exceptional Sports News. My friend Keenan, he's a Ravens fan, but we talk. He's pretty much been the only one that I've talked football with in the last like 2.5 years that I've been doing this, and he's been doing this. So it's fun to get finally on camera with the Steelers fan and talk the good guys, all the good guys. So he's good. We're good with that. And then Twitter is just sleep. If you look up Sleeper Sports Media, you'll find something involving that, and then you can get to the other channels. So YouTube is primarily where I do most of my stuff, video wise, content wise, and then posts on Facebook and Twitter and using all those tools. So
Hell yeah, baby. Nick does some good stuff, man. So make sure you guys support him. I do appreciate you, Nick, for coming on. So, guys, again, I apologize if we didn't get to your chat questions and things. When we have somebody on, it's a little bit busier. It's a little bit harder to get to everything because we're talking back and forth and stuff. But I do value all your comments, and I'll try to get to them and answer them eventually here. But as always, Nick, yeah, I appreciate you, man. So we're going to start wrapping it up. So
all
thank you very,
right.
very much, man.
Want, Tom Ford there. I'm from
Oh,
it's Central PA, but Carlisle, so the Harrisburg area, Central PA. If you know the Hershey area, Hershey Park, the Giants Center, the Hershey Bears. Um, and then my podcast, my channel is just Sleeper Sports Media. If you look that up, you'll find it. The YouTube primarily is my main focus, and then Facebook would be a close second. Twitter, I just kind of get on there and just tweet to tweet. Facebook, I'm like all business and media and posting to actually post and whatnot. So that just look up Sleeper Sports Media and you will find it. And then of course the Hardcore Sports Network. We have a Facebook page for that. There's a Twitter for that, YouTube for that. So a lot of good people over there for all kinds of any team you can think of, any sport you can think of, and then of course the my bread and butter, which is the WWE and everything, which goes all year long. So whenever I get to take a break from that and kind of sidetrack and get into some Steelers, it is always a good time. So
it's the best time, baby. No, what was I going to say? Send me in an email, Nick, like all
mhm.
your stuff to where I can copy and paste it real quick, like all your socials,
Okay,
your pages and stuff like that. And then I'll attach it in the description or pin it in the
all right,
comments or something.
all right.
That way, anybody that's asking, you guys can find out Nick
Yeah,
pretty easy that way. We'll make it happen. But
yeah.
yeah, man. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, thank you. This has been great. That hour flew by. I mean, a lot
Yeah.
of stuff to start to think about and seeing how this season is going to go compared to last year. I remember watching the Steel Here podcast with Jersey Jerry and Kevin from Barstool, and just
Mm.
week in and week out, those guys are just like, we're back here yet again. They lost, and we keep letting them do this to us. And then at one point, Jersey Jerry was like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I don't care. I'm done. And then
Throw
sure
the
enough,
towel.
like it was a week we beat a team that we had no business beating with what we put out on that field. And then next episode, we're all the way back. So I'm tired of having seasons like that. I just want a nice, easy season of just consistency and
Yeah.
good consistency, not consistently inconsistent or consistently bad, just consistently good, smart,
Yeah.
not giving up, just everything total opposite of what we've seen the last like 2 years, and I will be
Yeah.
happy with this season. So
Me too, man. I agree. Sorry if I was picking at my fingers, guys. See, I got two. I was outside doing yard work. So look, I
Got it.
get 2 blisters on my
Yeah.
damn thumb. So
Yeah.
like I'm sitting here like, oh, they hurt so bad. I felt like bad during the whole show. I'm like, I
No,
keep
it's all
picking
good.
my fingers. I'm like, what the hell, bro? They're driving me crazy. I got blisters all over my hands.
Yeah.
But hey, dirty hands, clean money. That's what they
Yep.
say.
Exactly.
All right. All right, Nick, we're wrapping it up, bro. We hit our hour mark. So again, guys, thank you so very much for joining us. Make sure you subscribe, like, do all that good shit. You know what to do here. You guys are pros. So until tomorrow, man, we'll see you on the next one, man. Thank you again, Nick. Peace, man.
Yep. Yep. Thank you.
See you, brother. It'll
See ya.
end now. All right, dude. Later.
Yep.